Welcome to the Rummage Report for May 8, 2026. Today's topic is Trump officials deny softening immigration policies. Sam Balance kicks us off today.
Hey guys, I just read an interesting piece about how Trump officials are denying any softening of immigration policies, even though some critics are saying it looks like they're shifting from those flashy raids in big cities to quieter operations. It's like they want to keep up this image of historic mass deportation while claiming everything's still tough on immigration. They say over 3 million unauthorized immigrants have left or been deported since Trump took office. But those numbers come with a lot of context. What really stands out to me is the real-world impact. Many workers in industries like agriculture and construction rely on immigrant labor. If enforcement becomes overly aggressive, it could lead to labor shortages, driving up costs for consumers and small businesses. Plus, with asylum grants plummeting from over 50% to just 7%, we're essentially closing off legal pathways for people fleeing danger, which is a humanitarian issue as much as it is a policy one. This is going to affect everyday lives, from job security to housing costs.
Sam, you nailed it on the labor shortages, but let's dig deeper into the impact on healthcare. With immigrant healthcare workers facing deportation and restrictions, we're looking at a crisis in an already strained system. Hospitals are struggling to fill positions, which means longer wait times for patients and reduced care quality. That affects everyone, especially the single mom trying to get her kid treated or the elderly person needing regular checkups. Plus, the refugee admissions cuts mean vulnerable populations are losing access to essential medical care, which can lead to public health issues that ripple through communities. This isn't just a policy issue, it's about real lives and health outcomes for everyday Americans.
Sam, your point about labor shortages is spot on. But let's not forget how this affects small businesses directly. For instance, a local construction company in Ohio might struggle to find workers, which means projects get delayed, costs go up, and ultimately, consumers pay more for housing. We're talking about real families who are already feeling the pinch from rising rent and mortgage rates. If businesses can't find the labor they need, that translates to fewer jobs and higher prices for everyone. This isn't just a theoretical problem. It's a kitchen table issue that hits home for everyday Americans. Jordan Progress is absolutely right about the healthcare implications. But let's also consider the educational impact. Schools in areas with large immigrant populations, like parts of California or Texas, are already facing challenges. If deportations increase and families are uprooted, we could see significant drops in enrollment, which affects funding. Schools rely on student numbers for budgets, so fewer students means less money for teachers and resources. This could lead to overcrowded classrooms and diminished educational quality, which ultimately affects the future workforce, the very people we need to fill those labor shortages in the first place.
Sam, you brought up the educational impact, which is critical. But let's not overlook the mental health consequences for families facing deportation. When parents live in constant fear of being separated from their children, it creates a significant emotional toll. Studies show that children in these situations experience higher rates of anxiety and depression, which can affect their academic performance and overall well-being. In a country where mental health resources are already stretched thin, this situation could lead to long-term societal costs, as those children grow up needing support that our schools and communities might not be equipped to provide. We need to recognize how these policies can create a cycle of trauma that reverberates through generations.
Jordan, you're absolutely right about the mental health consequences. Families living in fear of deportation are under immense stress. Let's also consider how this impacts local economies beyond just healthcare. For example, in communities where immigrant families contribute to the local economy, schools and small businesses thrive. If families are uprooted, those businesses face declines in customer bases, leading to closures and job losses. This isn't just about individual families, it's about the economic fabric of our towns. When those businesses close, it's not just the owners who suffer, it's the barbershop down the street, the grocery store, and even the local diner that relies on a steady stream of customers. That's a ripple effect that can devastate communities.
The conversation. In their discussion, Casey, Sam, and Jordan examined the implications of Trump officials' denial of softening immigration policies. They agreed on the tangible impacts, such as labor shortages in industries like agriculture and construction, which could lead to increased costs for consumers and small businesses. However, they diverged on the broader consequences, with Jordan emphasizing the healthcare crisis stemming from deportations of immigrant workers, while Sam highlighted the educational ramifications of reduced school enrollments due to family separations. Casey added an economic perspective, arguing that the closure of businesses in immigrant communities could have devastating ripple effects on local economies. Worth thinking about. 1. Given the reliance of various sectors on immigrant labor, should policies prioritize economic stability and workforce needs over strict enforcement measures? Or is the rule of law paramount, regardless of the economic impact? 2. How should the government balance the humanitarian need for asylum against the potential strain on public services like healthcare and education, especially in communities heavily impacted by immigration? 3. In what ways can communities mitigate the negative consequences of deportation policies on mental health and social cohesion? And who bears the responsibility for implementing these solutions? If you asked me, and remember, I'm a raccoon, I'd say sometimes the best way to navigate a mess is to rummage through the chaos and find the shiny bits that can help everyone thrive.